I want to start by thanking you guys. I could be thanking nobody, but on my previous video, I got 19 views, 1 like, and 1 subscribe as of recording this, and that's 19 views, 1 like, and 1 subscribe more than I thought I was gonna get at all. I decided to hit record on the camera and share some thoughts and put it out there, and it went out there, and some people actually saw it, and I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. And one thing I want to clarify from the last video, I believe I talked about collected editions of comics and what they look like or something, but you might be familiar with this. This is the compendium format of Invincible. This is volume 1. I have the other 2 volumes down here, but you get the point. And here's an omnibus. This is World War Hulk. This is a hardcover, unlike those compendiums down there. For example, here's a few pages. And that's that. But my reason for making this second video here is, well, because I have more thoughts that I want to share, and this time I would like to talk about movies. And I want to start by addressing some industry trends that I've noticed, which we can start with what we can only call at the moment as hype beast marketing, for lack of a better term. And we can characterize this by talking about the trend of releasing, of announcing a release date and then releasing tickets for that release date a significant amount of time beforehand. I mean, this week the Odyssey comes out this Thursday at 2 p.m. Shows will start in 70mm IMAX, and the people sitting in that theater have had their tickets for an entire year. And I think it did a good job of generating hype from a year back, but at the same time it kind of feels somehow antithetical to the whole to the film lovers space. I could just be speaking. Maybe I'm just salty that I didn't get to that first batch back then, but I lucked my way into the very next showtime, and don't tell anybody I said this, but I've booked out quite a few other showtimes, which I intend to see, by the way. I'm not trying to resell. I'm going for the love of the game, and for other people's love of the game, bringing other people with me to other showtimes. But yeah, it's interesting. I completely missed out on the Odyssey tickets when they went out a year ago, and eventually it fixed itself. I mean, they didn't seem to do, and I mean, I'm not really sure how you would capitalize on that aside from doing it again with another movie, even though it'd be marketing for another movie. But yeah, that ended up happening anyway with Dune Part 3, and I got 1 ticket that's kind of on the side of the theater for some obscure showtime that's not on the first day. It's kind of crazy. I suspect it's going to be like the Odyssey, where they're going to finally release the regular general seating at some point, and it's, I mean, hey, if there's a lot of excitement for it, it'll probably go fast. If not, then I guess it's a win-win either way. Either I find tickets or I don't find tickets because a whole bunch of people want to see a movie and are very excited for it, and that's all we can ask for. I mean, I'm gonna see it at some point. I'm gonna see it in the format at some point. And moving on, there's been a bit of a renaissance in the horror genre, and if you're up to date with the movie scene, recently 2 films came out. One of them being Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons, and the other being Obsession, directed by Kari Barker. And horror films have proven to be a cash cow of sorts. I mean, it's the only genre that guarantees a feeling. I mean, people make fantasy films, but that doesn't guarantee that you'll feel fantastic on the other end of it. The horror genre is pretty much asks that you flip a coin by deciding to see the film or not, and even if everything else is trash, you're likely to feel that you've gotten your money's worth if you felt scared at any point. And while I would say that's still the case, I would say that fans of the genre are getting even more than what they bargained for, because, like I said, there's a bit of a renaissance of sorts. I feel like we can kind of. I'm not as well versed in the horror genre, but I'll speak with the information I know, and I think we kind of credit this renaissance to the Zach Cregger style of filmmaking, which Zach Cregger is amazing. Barbarian, Weapons, and now he's really releasing Resident Evil this year, and he has a very distinct style of making, which I think is very much reflected in a lot of horror movies, in very auteur-driven horror films that we see. Not so much in like the commercial kind of franchised horror, which is not a wrong thing. For the record, I would say that's the side of the horror genre that I'm least familiar with, because there's a lot of baggage that comes with a franchise, like, you know, the Conjuring franchise or Insidious or whichever. But it's interesting because a horror seems to oftentimes be the first foray for many filmmakers. Is they want to make something that grabs attention, or something that they can use to pass for thematic density, and it depends. It's different for each person, and I think that's why I think that's why the genre persists. I mean, people talk about how the Western is effectively a dead genre. I mean, we still kind of get Westerns, but there was a time when it was significantly more prominent. But then there just came about a lack of originality, and people say that about with comic book adaptations as well. And it's been likened to, I think it was James Gunn, I'm pretty sure he likened it to the Western genre, where he said that after there came a time where they stopped innovating, they stopped telling fresh stories, and the genre just kind of fizzled out. And I think it's true of any genre. Any genre is not likely to withstand the test of time if you don't start innovating, if you don't start presenting new stories and welcoming newer perspectives. And I think that's very much what we're seeing with horror. I mean, it's been a great year for the horror genre. We've had the 28 Years Later sequel, which I thought was incredible. There was also Sam Raimi's Send Help, if you can consider that a horror movie, which I think you can. There were definitely a few others, but those are two that I've seen, along with Backrooms and Obsession, which I was, not to make a stupid pun, I was absolutely obsessed with. I loved that both of those films came out. They're made for very, very modest budgets, one of them being an extremely modest budget, and then create just insane records, I believe, because Obsession was created on a $750,000 budget approximately, and is now at 400 million worldwide, I believe, and that makes it one of the most profitable films of all time. I'm seeing 427 million here, which is insane, which is crazy. I mean, I think the lesson to pull from that is that originality and organic hype will pull audiences to theaters, and for you to get the bang for your buck on that, you first need to be modest and realistic about your production budget, and that's proven to be true. And yeah, there's a lot more coming from the horror space this year. There's a DC's Clayface, which modest budget, very interesting concept. All it has to do is deliver now, and also they do have a big name attached to it. Mike Flanagan is the writer, and brand association with DC. The movie really just has to be good, and then the sky's the limit, really. And also Robert Eggers is releasing Werewolf, and he's another person we can kind of credit for the renaissance in horror. Even though I wouldn't say, I guess The Witch is horror of sorts, but it's very unconventional in its horror methods. It doesn't jump out at the audience unceremoniously. It's also Robert Eggers is not concerned with commercial viability in the classical sense. He really goes for the time period and for the aesthetic, and I think I have nothing but respect for him for that. I mean, I think that anytime he announces something that he's working on, it makes me excited to see what his execution is going to be like, and no less with Werewolf. I'm very excited to see that. Moving on, film discourse. It's very annoying these days, to put it simply. Simply put, you'll see a lot of people complain about how something either has to be the greatest thing ever or the worst thing ever, and I think that's very much true. There's not a lot of acceptance for just the middle part of the film audience. This is, like, for example, I wrote down Supergirl. My frame of reference for Supergirl was I had read the comic, and it's an amazing story, and I had certain expectations for it, especially given the kind of team that they had associated with it, and it delivered in quite a few aspects in which I found surprising, and there were some ways in which I felt I could have improved. But I can't say that anywhere out in public, otherwise I get accused of being a shill, which is just extremely annoying, because it's no secret that the movie is underperforming. Definitely not what they would have wanted for something that's part of the early stage of a franchise, something what should be and was probably intended to be a multi-billion-dollar franchise. But the movie not doing well just has to mean the end of the DCU for one group. I don't find the other extreme to be so upsetting, because I tend to lean positive on most any media that I consume, because you invest a lot of time into it, and you kind of want to tell yourself that there was something worthwhile about what you consumed. And I found several things worthwhile about Supergirl, but the internet doesn't seem to agree, and they're not allowing me to disagree with them in a reasonable way, and I find that annoying. If we go further into annoying discourse, we can address The Odyssey, which is finally coming out this week, and that's truly going to be, I think, will truly bring the climactic war of this internet discussion, because everybody that's complaining about it or supporting it will get to finally see it and make their official opinions, and we'll get to see how the audience engagement reflects in the box office numbers and whatnot. But to share my own thoughts about The Odyssey, race bending is a bit of a crude term, but it's the one we'll use just to address how the topic is being addressed on the internet. I do agree that there could have been a few it's a story from Greek mythology, but really its effects have been the effects of the Iliad and the Odyssey and Homer and Hesiod and Virgil. Their stories they've had an effect on literature and culture just about everywhere. So not naturally, but it's easy to understand how it might have gotten lost within the wider popular culture, and that's not a justification to erase the cultural aspect of it. And I think that there's definitely a significant Greek audience that's upset that they don't feel properly represented, and I think that's a valid thing to be upset about. I also don't think that it makes you bigoted if you think that you're okay with what it is either way. I mean, as an Indian person myself, there's a lot of Hindu lore, and sometimes I think I would feel a certain way if I felt that it wasn't being if I felt that particular story was not being adapted properly, or that something was being unceremoniously changed. But it can go many different ways. I think the casting, they were clearly going for skill level. They have very many accomplished performers in the cast, and I think that's part of the draw of the film, is that there are many known names and obviously the known filmmaker, and that's guaranteed to bring people to the theaters. But I don't think it just guarantees that. I think it's also about the experience. I think where we can expect genuine original filmmaking and a unique perspective. And the production design took quite a few hits as well. I think there's definitely a crowd who was probably less upset with the casting, but more so about the production design. There's numerous explanations for why it is the way it is, or possible explanations. I don't know Christopher Nolan personally. That would be cool. But first of all, his visual style, it's a known fact that he is in fact colorblind, and that definitely affects the way that he composes his shots, the way he colors the frame, and it makes sense that the production design and the costume design may not be as complex as some people would expect a story like that to be, especially when we have historical reference for what it could have been like. Once again, the Odyssey is mythological in nature, so we can't say for sure that there was anything that was definitely a certain way within that story, but it's no reason to ignore the precedents and the possibilities and the hypotheticals, if you will. But there is also a sense of whataboutism that comes about in these arguments, and a valid kind of whataboutism, if I might say so myself. To start with the inspirations for the movie, some as stated by Christopher Nolan and some as just simply observed. He's talked about taking inspiration from the films of Ray Harryhausen and like Jason and the Argonauts, and I think it's very much evocative of any film epic that's made its impact on the wider popular culture, like Clash of the Titans or the original one, or Ben-Hur. And recently he cited Andrei Tarkovsky's Andrei Rublev and Akira Kurosawa's Ran as well. So it depends on the individual. I mean, one might say that if you're making the Odyssey, the only inspiration you need is the Odyssey itself. And from a story perspective, and to an extent the casting perspective, I suppose that might be a valid argument. But it's not that simple, I don't think. And I think once again there's a lot of the conversation, the penetration that the penetration that the conversation has reached, I think would probably lead some people to believe that they have actually seen the film, when in fact they've not. They've only seen some they've seen some behind the scenes. They've seen some promotional materials. They've I mean, they know who the cast is. They know how the cast will appear in the film, and they know about the director. But we're yet to see it. It's coming out, and I think there's also a conversation to be had about adaptation versus evocation. And I got the idea for this little bit from Zack Snyder. I saw a featurette that he made for his movie 300, in which he talked about how it doesn't necessarily adapt the events, but that it depicts, but it's kind of evocative of the events. And you could look no further than 300 for precedent in taking a story of Greeks that takes a lot of cinematic liberty, or Troy itself. I mean, Troy is an adaptation of the Iliad, which is the direct precursor to the Odyssey, and it changes a lot story-wise and casting-wise. It makes quite a few swings as well, and I just saw that recently. And for the beginning portion, I found myself questioning why they would have made certain decisions, but I realized after a while it's its own thing. They made a couple of decisions about what they wanted to change to fit the cinematic medium, and then that probably created a ripple effect in which they realized that they needed to change a couple of other things. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. I mean, I think when something deviates from when an adaptation deviates from its source material, it's the kind of thing that you can't describe definitively, but you know it when you see it. There's sometimes it's a genuine thought experiment when great changes are made, and sometimes it's even a dissatisfaction with the source material itself, and the adaptation tries to elevate above the source material. There are definitely a few examples of that, but we're yet to see, because once again, as I've said a few too many times now, the movie is simply not out yet. It's coming out this week. We're all going to see it, and we'll be able to tell for sure. I mean, how much is adaptation and how much is evocation. And next topic, upcoming movies. I mean, as I've just talked about for the past several minutes, The Odyssey. I'm really excited to see. It's just especially in recent years, it's a great time on the internet but even more so in the theaters, when it feels like there's an organic excitement and there are genuinely people showing up to see a film. I think we see that a lot. We see that most often when there's a particular filmmaker behind the camera, and I think it's a good thing. I mean, people have lamented the death of star culture, and I think it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, I don't think star culture is actually dead. It's just reoriented itself to star director culture, if you will. It could be others. I mean, I'm not saying that people only get excited for a film if it's a particular director, but I do think it's a major factor which people use to evaluate their excitement for a particular film. And it seems like there's going to be a great collective experience in theaters everywhere for The Odyssey. Some of the less fun discussions surrounding the film are likely to be amplified even further once people know what they're talking about. Some people might change their minds, some people might reinforce their views even stronger. But ultimately, it's going to be okay. It'll release, and after a while, it'll no longer be in theaters, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And surely there will be other movies. There will be other movies as well. Some of which, for the rest of the year, we have coming up in. I think this is in the exact release order. There might be a couple mistakes, but these are just some that I particularly am excited for. Spider-Man Brand New Day. That second trailer really sold me on it. I still need to see a little bit about how they're incorporating some of the wider MCU characters, particularly with the Punisher and the Hulk, because we've seen them in different projects, some vastly different projects, and we'll just have to see how it mixes in. But either way, Destin Daniel Cretton, I think it looks like he's really brought something exciting, and it feels like they might have genuinely found they might have genuinely found an exciting direction to go with this one, as opposed to obligatorily making another Spider-Man movie for making a Spider-Man movie's sake. And Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender, I've seen just a couple clips of what the animation looks like. I think it was terrible that the movie got leaked. I think its release was not handled very well at all. It was kind of touted to be a flagship release for Avatar Studios. You know, they're continuing the franchise, and they've got a bunch of exciting new directions to go, and this one was their movie. It was going to release in theaters for the longest time, and then it was banished to the streaming service Paramount Plus, which I don't know how many people subscribe to, but I feel like it doesn't have the same wide-reaching pull as some of the other competing streaming services. And they waited even longer, and then it just got leaked on the internet. But ultimately, I'm glad that they're still going ahead with it. I mean, whatever their reason for taking more time after seemingly having completed the entire film before it got leaked, I'm glad that it's still getting its proper release. They seem not to be completely shaken by it, and I'm really hoping that it has a good release, because I think the animated medium, it deserves all the love, especially now. And they clearly worked very hard on it, just based off of whatever little bits of it that I've seen, and it seems very exciting. And Coyote vs. Acme, which is a animated hybrid live action type of thing. And this was another movie which which was almost permanently taken away from us, but it's coming out. We no longer have to worry about that. It was originally going to be banished into the Shadow Realm as a part of a tax write-off, but then another studio stepped up and said, we'll release it. And James Gunn was one of the story writers, and it looks like they've got some exciting cast. They got an exciting cast of characters, and I think the concept is just incredible. Is Coyote suing the Acme Corporation? Is I just think that's inspired. I just find it very tickling, if you will. And we also have Digger, which a new trailer for just dropped today, which I have not yet seen. But Alejandro Inarritu with Tom Cruise, it's kind of an unlikely combination. I mean, it depends on what your perception of Tom Cruise as an actor is, but I personally think it's really exciting. It does seem to be. I think Tom Cruise he's seen the heights of stardom with many of his stunt-oriented roles, especially in the Mission Impossible franchise, and with Top Gun. People will go to theaters to see the stunts that he's done, and I think that's a great reason to go see a movie. By the way, I think it's always an interesting time when Tom Cruise has a new release coming around, and I'm not sure if there's any stunts planned for Digger, but it seems like this is going to be their push towards. I don't know how to phrase this, because I generally don't like this conversation, but it seems like they're going to try and use this as a platform to push Tom Cruise even further forward as Oscar material. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think there's a point at which it gets annoying if somebody is trying to get an Oscar just for getting the Oscar's sake. But I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting an award, and even if it reflects in their attitude a little bit, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. There could be significantly worse things. I mean, some people might genuinely just forego the quality of their filmmaking and focus exclusively on the way they speak in interviews and in press junkets, and trying to push the agenda forward for their potential Oscar win. But like, for example, I personally didn't mind Timothée Chalamet. I think he did really great in Marty Supreme, and I think Marty Supreme was an incredible film. I wasn't too dissatisfied with those that won over Marty Supreme in all categories, but at the same time, I don't think I was as irritated as others seemed to be by the fact that they really wanted to go for an Oscar. But it's okay. Back to the topic. I know I got way far away from it. Digger seems very exciting, and Clayface, which I just talked about, a horror film, modest budget. DC's backing. The teaser was very interesting. I don't think they're gonna hold back in the body horror elements. I think that was the exclusive purpose of the trailer, was to show that this is sometimes a film will come out and they'll say, oh, it's kind of like this and this and this. It's a that genre. It's a blah 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 blah, and then it comes out and it's like they kind of they entertain the possibility of whatever they said it was going to be, but ultimately it really isn't all that. But this seems like they had an idea for a body horror clayface film, and they're making a body horror clayface film, and I'm really excited for it. Wildwood is next. A Travis Knight stop motion animation. Looks the trailer was really cool, and I'm excited to see it. The Adventures of Cliff Booth, Fincher, gotta love him. Dune Part 3. I went to the global IMAX fan event and saw the preview. It was very much like a 70s war film, kind of like a Saving Private Ryan with a sci-fi skin, and that was just the perfect clip to show, I think, to really pique the excitement in the audience. I really love how the first trailer, the second trailer, which we just got, and the preview, which some of you are going to see with the Odyssey, are all very different. I mean, some clips from the preview do exist in the promotional materials, but they all give off different tones. They convey different parts of the movie, and I couldn't be more excited. Next up is Ray Gun, which I am extremely excited for. I think it's the one that I'm most uniquely excited for out of the whole list, because I love Brad Bird. I love his works. I've loved Brad Bird's work since before I knew of such a concept as Brad Bird work, because when you were a kid and you just watched movies for watching movies' sake, and you get attached to a few of them, and then you grow up and you learn what a director is and who filmmakers are, and that some filmmakers, they have just a legendary body of work, and that's Brad Bird. And I really can't wait to see Ray Gun. He's been trying to make it for a long time. You can look up some of the history behind it, and he's finally getting to make it, and it's releasing in December, and I'm very excited. Next up is Avengers Doomsday. I've been kind of following along with the strange, not strange, I would say peculiar production of the film. It's reshoots, who they've got cast in it, who's not in it, who might have fought on set, or whatever rewrites they might have done on it. But listen, I'm ranked in this Marvel franchise fan game. All right, I've been there since pretty much the very beginning, and I'm excited to see it for what it is, and that's mainly because I still don't know what it is, because they have not released the trailer. They were very strict about the trailer getting out of CinemaCon, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think it was CinemaCon, and yeah, I mean, there was a huge conversation around it about what the details were, and people saw it and they were excited about it, and the conversation died down as well, and now they're saying that it's going to this is weird. They're going to release the tickets as along with the trailer, and I think this is sometime in the following weekish 10 days for San Diego Comic-Con, but it's going to be exciting. Dune Part 3, Ray Gun, and Avengers Doomsday. Those are all releasing on like the same day. Great day for me. That's going to be amazing. And the last one is Werewolf, Robert Eggers, which I think we talked about him just a bit ago. But Robert Eggers is the kind of filmmaker who I hope never has to compromise on his style. I hope he gets to make the film he wants to make, and it also finds its audience and has commercial viability. I mean, I think there's definitely a cry for originality in filmmaking a lot more these days. And that's what he is. He's nothing if not original. He's a very unique, distinct voice, and I really hope that everything works out with the Werewolf. But yeah, that's all the thoughts that I have. It's an exciting time. There's quite a few. We're being fed this year. There's quite a few things to see. We have the Odyssey this week, and then 2 weeks after that is Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it's really gonna see. It seems like it's gonna start just a chain till the end of the year of a bunch of exciting films. But yeah, thank you.